Hello and welcome to the new episode of The Insider at Home. For this episode, I've got two guests, and both of them are taking the equestrian world by storm. Their father was actually the very first Global Champions Tour champion back in 2006. And it's only a matter of time before they will fill his footsteps. On the other hand, they are already a two-time season champion on the Global Champions League, winning, of course, with the London Knights in 2018 and 2019 on Global Champions League. You've guessed it already, my guests for today are Olivier and Nicola Philippaerts. Gentlemen, great to see you. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Good, and you?
I'm good, thanks. Nicola, all good?
Everything okay. Very quiet at home, but it's good.
Yeah, I see that you're at home, and especially with you, Olivier, it leads us into the first question. You both of you, of course, come from a family of horse people, of riders, of breeders. It's in your blood, it's in your genes. Olivier, if we look behind you, who's on the wall? Tell us about your family.
So behind, I think the biggest picture, it's my mother. She's riding dressage, actually, for quite a long time now. She's always been riding, but she got fully committed to dressage like I think 10, 12 years ago, I think. And then down below, we've got actually pictures from my father, from my little brothers, who are also competing now at international level. They're turning 19 and 17. And then we have also more pictures from my father and Darko at the time. So it's a little bit a wall of new and older stuff here at the office.
Nicola, the name has been said, Darko. We're not going to go too much into breeding, but he has been enormously influential for your father, for Belgian breeding in total, and even world breeding. Do you still remember his days, the days of Darko? Is it still a vivid memory?
Well, to be honest, for us, it's been a little bit too long ago. I think we were very young. Like even the Olympic Games in Barcelona, for us, we were not born yet. So it's difficult to remember. But of course, we saw videos, and I think Darko was a very big influence for my father. I think he put his name on the map, and it started everything with that horse. I think the horse is still known by every single rider that rides, and it's been phenomenal for him.
Yeah. You've briefly spoken about your father, your mother. I think she competes up to Grand Prix level. Olivier, your brothers, your younger brothers, are also competing. How talented are they? What can we expect from them, you think?
I think they're very, very hungry to come in the global tour as well. I think that's what they really would love to. I think Thibaut last year he competed one of the first times up to 5-star level. He competed in the World Cup qualifiers of Oslo Helsinki, which was for one of the first times. And then Anthony he went to the European Championship last year with the juniors. And I think what the most important thing is, they have lots of ambition and they really want to become a show jumper as well.
So maybe one day there will be a Global Champions League team just made up out of Philippaerts brothers.
That could be nice.
Could be nice. Boys, with so many brothers riding, all four of you and all four at international level and successfully, that means that you have to have good horses. What's the structure like at Stoeterij Dorperheide where you're all based? How many horses are there? How many riders are there? Is your father still riding?
Well, I think the structure is getting bigger and bigger every time. If you want to have 4 riders jumping internationally and also have results, we need many horses. So we start with many young horses. I think we have around 50 horses now in the stables, and we are with 4 that ride international. Then we have Steen Timmermans that rides national shows and really produces the horses to the bigger level that we can take them. People only, they also still have an extra rider because they have to go to school. So it's a lot of people here and a lot of different horses, but I think it's nice.
Yeah, I can imagine. If you look through the results, you boys started competing on the Longines Global Champions Tour 2014. That's 6 years ago. You're 26 now. But if you look through the results on the global tour, you've brought on many different horses. It really feels like it's a coming and going and producing and selling. There's a lot of activity at the yard.
Well, yes, because for us it's very simple. Without any business, there is no top sport for us. So it's very clear that we also have to sell our horses because it's also a very expensive sport, and that's on the end what we live from. But I think these days we have created a very good system of trying to buy the right young horses and producing them from 5-6 years old until Grand Prix horses. Because all the horses we've got, we all bought them when they were young. So that means that also the ones we jump now on top level also became at that level. So that means that we have created actually a good system in our place.
Prize money has risen tremendously. Launching Global Champions to Super Grand Prix has record-breaking prize money. The Super Cup on its own in Prague has enormous prize money. Has it changed has that changed the structure slightly at the stable?
Well, I think for sure as well. If you've seen in the Longines Global Champions Tour how the prize money is raising the last years, is just phenomenal. And for sure, it's very important as well how you see the future is becoming, and the horse sport is growing. It's becoming worldwide. It's in every continent. If you see the prize money that grows, for sure it changes the structure as well. But somehow we have nearly 200 horses, so we need to sell sometimes also some horses, and I think it's very important. But it doesn't change these days. The best ones, we can maybe keep them a little bit longer to do a full season in the Global Champions Tour, just because the prize money is better. I think that changed a little bit. But in the end of the day, we're also a business table, so we need to sell also good horses to other riders. But now left and right, some owners are coming as well, so we can try to find a solution to keep the horse a little bit longer, or try to ride a little bit for the sport. But we have many different options as well for the moment.
How does it feel? You're 26, and every week you get onto the plane and you go to these fantastic destinations. Unfortunately, now in this COVID-19 around period, we're traveling less, but we would be on the plane to Shanghai. We would be going to Miami, to Mexico City. I hear that's one of your favorite events. Olivier, how is it for a 26-year-old to do top sport and travel to those fantastic destinations?
Well, I said to a couple of people, if I gotta compare myself with somebody else from 26 years old and see what destinations I've seen in my life, is actually truly unbelievable. Actually, the place I've been in the world already and enjoying the top sport on this high level, for sure, it's great. I mean, all the unique places the shows are at, it's truly something to remember. But on the other hand, I think you don't have to forget that the traveling is also very, very exhausting. I mean, it's for sure, we love it and we enjoy it. But I tell you, if you have to do at the level we do now, it's also very exhausting. And sometimes also good to have once a week, a break in the middle, just to reload yourself to go to the next competitions. I think that's also a very, very important aspect.
Yeah, I can imagine. Nicola, in your father's time, horse shows were not held in the city center or under the Eiffel Tower. Does he often comment when he goes along to those new locations how the sport has changed?
Well, of course, he also comments that the sport has changed dramatically. If you see 10 or 15 years ago and you see it now, I'm very curious how the sport is going to be in 15 years. It doesn't stand still. It just keeps growing and it becomes bigger and bigger. And I think it's very nice for us as riders as well to go to these nice cities and go to these nice places. But maybe without horses, we would have never been there. And I think it makes it so special that you can go all these special places and really ride against the best riders in the world there.
Yeah, I can imagine. Back to your father, of course. When you guys came onto the circuit, you started riding at the age of 20 on the Global Champions Tour. You started riding against the rivals of your father, the people that you maybe even grew up with and you looked up to. How was it in that time to get into the ring as a 20-year-old and ride against Ludger Beerbaum, Marcus Eining, McLean Water, Ken Farrington, all those big names? What was it like? Were you timid?
I think for sure we've been to many competitions with my father throughout the years when we were younger, and then the first moment you step in the ring and in the first global tour, for sure it's exciting. You compete against those riders, and then the funny thing is about that through the years it turns something to be normal to compete against them, and they get colleagues and they guys know. But for sure the first time it's very exciting. I even remember the first time I even was in the prize game before one of them. It for sure felt very, very special.
Did it really? Do you remember where it was?
It wasn't at the global tour, but I remember I jumped in the show in Maastricht, and I think that I was I don't know, maybe I was second or something in the big class, and then Marcus Engel was third or fourth, and then I said, I was only at the time 18 or 19, so I felt pretty proud to stand there before him.
Yeah, and Nicola, how is that relationship now? Because now you're 26. Ening has got all that experience. We had this question and answer session just before that we record this Insider. You said, yeah, Ening is somebody who I really look up to. I also like Aalman, Christian Aalman, in his style and how he rides. Now they are colleagues. You're all Grand Prix winners. You're all on that same level. Is there like a mutual respect? Do they sometimes come and ask you for advice? People with 20 years more experience?
I think first of all, I have a lot of respect for these riders. If you see, they've been there day in, day out. They've been there on the top of our sport, and I think of these riders, they can bring you to another level if they give you a small or a little advice. It can change so much in your career and in your riding. I think it's very important just to look at them and try to learn from them, and also how they are in the collecting ring, how they are outside of the ring as well, how they work with their horses. I think it's very interesting, and it's very important to see also how they are and how they work with them. I can still learn every day, every single day. I could still learn from them. It's also with horses. Every horse is different, so you can learn a lot of different things with every single horse.
You guys have been there for so long already on the tour that we forgot how young you were. There are also riders. We've got the under 25 rider on the Global Champions League. Can you give us an idea of how important it is for these riders to be able to compete on the league with these riders? How much you can learn? Because we don't look at you anymore as young people, but you still are young riders. You're only 26. How important is it also for that under 25 group to get in there and to dig in and to develop?
Well, I think it's very important. They, of course, are also the future. We're going to see them also in a few years breaking through and winning Grand Prix. So they will also be coming in. The earlier they can come on this level and see how the professional riders and the bit more aged riders, how they jump and how the system works, I think it's only a bigger advantage the younger you can jump into it and really learn from these. Because in the end of the day, in 10 years, I'm going to be the older one, and then the other ones are going to come as well. So it's very important as well that they can come as early as possible in it and see how it really works, the top sport. And that creates also the team competition, that the U25 riders can come and really look the riders on the highest level.
We've said it, team competition, Olivier. 2018 was the year that you were signed for the team of London Knights. 2018, the whole team went through an enormous restructuring, redevelopment. But it was also the year that you guys were unbeatable. A very young team. Martin Fuchs, Ben Meer, Emily Moffitt, the two of you. At that point, you still as under 25 riders, Emily Moffitt still as an under 25 rider. Well, how did that season feel? Because that must have been a high all the way through. You were unbeatable, Olivier.
Yes, I think the first year we came into the team of the London Knights, I think Mr. Moffitt was very, very clear. He said, listen, guys, I want to win. Simple as that, he said. He's a very competitive person. And we're very glad that he took us aboard together with my brother. And then what I think for us that made the big difference is we always went for the team class. We said on the long term, we have to focus on the team results. And I think together with Ben, we made a good structure for the amount of shows. So we had a good plan through the whole season with our good horses. So I think that on the end made a very big difference to have the right plan and the right horse at the right shows. And I think that made a difference in the end.
Yeah, we had in our previous episodes of the Insider at Home, we spoke with Geir Gulliksen of the Scandinavian Vikings. He rides on the Vikings, he manages and he owns the Vikings, or co-owns. And he said the same thing. The success of the team is depending on how non-selfish the riders can be. Was it really a demand of Neil Moffitt as team owner? You can come on the team, we'll surround you with good horses and good riders. You have to choose for the team, Nicola.
Yes, I think for sure, but I think Neil also is very competitive, and in the end, it's also very important. We are all the riders in the team are very team riders, and the priority is the team. So I think that was clear from the beginning, and we always rode the best horses in the class as well. But in the end, if you see as well, it was worth, because if you can win the league and you can win with your team, I think it's just a very good structure we have in the London Knights, and hopefully we can still continue for many years like that.
Because you gave priority to the team, but in the same season, 2018, you won the league. Ben Meyer won the championship, and you won 2 Grand Prix. So it doesn't have to be a bad thing that you prioritize the league and the team, because still as an individual, you also had the chance to be very successful and managed to be very successful.
I think 2018 was a phenomenal year as well. If you see Ben with Explosion, he just kept on going clear and winning Grand Prix one after the other. Still last year as well. It's just unbelievable. I was lucky to have 2 very good horses as well. And yeah, you have to enjoy when you're on the flow like that. There's also the qualification of the Grand Prix, the team. So it's also very important. And if you're good in the team, your horse is in good shape, then the chances are also bigger that you're good in the Grand Prix.
How was that feeling in the team when a horse as Explosion came onto the circuit and came onto the team? Because not many people knew of Explosion before 2018, and all of a sudden he's there. Is it like somebody puts Lionel Messi into the team grid and you think now everything is possible, Olivier? I mean, you guys saw him grow and develop. Did you straight away see this is magic?
I remember a very good one. The first times I saw Explosion, I was in Wellington for the Winter Equestrian Festival, and the horse jumped there in Nations Cup at the time, not with Ben, with an English girl. I forgot her name for the moment, and then Neil Moffat said it's going to be a good horse. And then a couple months later, Ben Meyer started taking him to the shows and just putting the one clear round after the other clear round. And then, of course, together with Clooney, you've got a team that really, I mean, it's like having Ronaldo and Messi in the same team. I mean, having those two in one team made, of course, a huge difference for us as well.
Yeah, and then you have a fantastic season. You guys are winning Grand Prix. You guys are winning the league. You crashed the competition. I can't even remember how many individual stages you won with the London Knights. I think 5 or 6. And then come the playoffs. How did that feel, Nicola?
Well, first of all, after such a great year, you try also, of course, to really prepare good and feel ready for Prague. I think it was a main goal to try as good as possible, but so far we weren't very lucky in Prague yet. I think the last 2 years was a bit of a disappointment for us. But for sure, it's also you need a lot of horsepower as well. If you want to ride the Super Grand Prix, then the team finals, it's a lot of horses and a lot of riders. And so far, we had a little bit bad luck the last 2 years, but for sure we're going to try to stand there as good as possible next time and try to be ones in the front.
Because then you come back for 2019, the next season comes up, and nothing changed. All the way through, you guys do outstanding. You take the lead in the league. You don't give it up anymore. You take it right until the end, and then you go to New York for that final. That was a real cliffhanger because 2018 you dominated, and there was no doubt about who was going to be the season champion. But 2019 was different. Opposition was already a bit stronger, and you took it right to the wire, right into New York. How intense was New York? Because it was a different situation in 2018, Olivier.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I remember in 2018 we've always had a lot of points ahead of the other ones, so we were quite comfortable towards the end. But then in 2019, things changed a bit. I remember my good horse, Legend of Love, got a small injury, so she didn't do so many shows that year. And then we got to New York, and it was Ben Meyer with Explosion, Martin Fuchs on Clooney, and myself on Legend. So we just went there as strong as we could be. And then Ben Meyer and Martin jumped both the team. And in the end, it got so close that we won again, but also because those two horses jumped both rounds double clear. So, I mean, that's what I said about these two combinations in your team are very, very important. But for sure, it was more nerve-wracking than in 2018.
Boys, let's talk horses because we've the name has come. H&M Legend of Love. But Nicola, let's start with you. There's a new star in the sky, and her name is Katanga van het Dingeshof. We saw her in Doha, beginning of the season. Fantastic in the Global Champions League. Outstanding in the Grand Prix, just barely beaten by Daniel Deusser and Killer Queen. But tell us about Katanga. What is she like? Because she seems to be special in every way.
Well, I think Katanga, she's a very special horse. I haven't got her a very long time yet. From the beginning of last year, it was actually always our rider, Steen Timmermans, that rode it. And she was very special from young. She was a bit strong. She was very bloody but super careful and a super mentality. I think she really grew to the highest level through the years. And actually, to be honest with me, it went quite quick because she had a good feeling. Just in the beginning, we were struggling a little bit. I really had to adapt to her. She is a very independent woman, so you need to let her be a little bit how she is. But that also makes her so special. If you can see also in Doha, she's been jumping so good. She has a lot of scope, and the more she jumps, the better it goes. And I think she will have a very good future, hopefully.
Is there any horse that you rode that you could compare her with? Because she seems very different than horses, let's say, Harley that you used to ride, or any of those. She's a totally different type, totally different shift of in the spectrum.
Well, I think from the views she might not look alike, but I think I also had a Vigo mare called Donatella. She had a lot of character as well. She won the World Cup in Gothenburg a few years ago, but she also had a very strong character. They don't look the same, but I think this one also has the same quality. She's maybe a little bit more difficult to ride at the moment, but I think she's very good, Katanga, and hopefully in the future she can still prove many good things.
Is there a special program for her? The fact that she is, like you say, a very strong and independent woman, that she is also very special to handle. Do you treat her differently than your other horses?
Yeah, I think for sure with Katanga, I try to take her a little bit more out, take her in the field, take her a little bit more in the forest, and also sometimes she goes a little bit on the lunge. So some days she would go in the field on the lunge and go a little bit in the forest, and then I wouldn't ride her proper on the flat. We try to change a little bit, that it's not every day the same, that she doesn't get bored and too strong. I think we always try to change the program a little bit. For now it's also a little bit more quiet, but it's very important to keep her happy and motivated for when the shows start again.
Olivier, Katanga is an up and coming horse. Okay, she's there. She was second in that opening Grand Prix of the season. Your mare, H&M Legend of Love, she's something different. She has proven everything, especially in the 2018 and 19 season. She has been of incredible value to the London Knights. Everybody talks about explosion, but Legend of Love has contributed maybe just as much to that season victory of London Knights. Tell us a little bit more about her. What is she like? Is she also as special at home?
Yes, I think if you see Legend of Love and Katanga, a little bit similar the way they are if you see them. I think also she was a horse. I had to change my riding a bit to her, not the other way around, because that doesn't work with her. So what I actually tried is now I don't worry too much a bit more about educating on the flat work, because she's never going to be a particular dressage horse. Now, what I try to do is just take her into the forest, keep her fit, keep her happy, and that works out actually very well for me, because if you see it's a horse that loves to go to the show and loves to go in the ring, and I try to keep it that way. And I mean, for her, she has been for extremely well, this horse. She has jumped incredibly lots of clear rounds for the league, really, and a couple of second places, just a win in the global tour I would love to have.
It's going close. You were so close in Valkenswaard. Second behind Van der Vleuten. I think you were also second in
Paris.
Yeah, behind Philippaerts.
Yeah,
it's going to come. Luck is going to break. But boys, if I'm not mistaken, isn't there a young horse out of Legend of Love by H&M Chili Willy?
Yes, it's called Child of Love.
How old is it now? Is it at your farm?
I think it's now. I think it's 8. But unfortunately, it had a collar operation, so it took away a while. So now it's going to take a while to get it back. So that set back some time, but it looks also very promising, I have to say.
That would be something to see that out on the tour. Who knows? Okay, there's one more thing that I want to know from you. We got some great insights from the Van der Vleuten family. We got some great insights from Peter Fredriksson, and we also asked you to draw up your favorite exercise show jumping routine that you've made at home. Here's the first one. This is the one that Olivier sent us. It's a beautiful 3D animation. Olivier, what are we looking at? I see 3.5 meters. I see ground rails. I see verticals. What are we looking at?
Yes, it's not. It looks way more complicated than it is, but it's actually quite simple. So what I do normally is I put one pole on the ground, and then on 3.5 meters I put a vertical, and I prefer actually to take a skinny vertical, which these days in the global tour you see it very, very often. Jumps from 2 meters wide. That horses are very difficult to learn to jump them. So I train those a lot. So I put a jump from 2 meter in the middle, and then on the landing another 3.5 meter, a pole on the ground. And then after that I go on with 2 strides, a little short to a pole on the ground, 3.5 meter, another skinny jump, and then another 3.5 meter and a pole on the ground. And this you can jump from both directions, from left to right. And I think it's very, very important the horse, they have to learn to use their body and straighten their body on the jump, and also that they learn to jump those skinny jumps. I think these are these days very popular with the course designers, and for me it helped my horse a lot with that.
The vertical, how high do you make it?
Well, obviously you start small, but if they've done it pretty much quite often, you can build it pretty high actually. I've jumped it with my Grand Prix horses up to 145, those verticals, so I jump it big enough. But obviously I start very small even with the young horses, because if they've never done this, it's actually very difficult for them. But let's say throughout the weeks you can build up the heights.
Yeah. You are twins. We both asked you to make an exercise, and this is the exercise that your twin brother comes up with. It looks like the complicated version of Olivier's exercise. Nicola, what are we looking at here?
Well, to be honest, it's nearly a little bit similar. I draw actually 4 verticals with 2 strides in between, and then after each vertical, a pole of 3.5 meters behind and in front. So it means a little bit that the horse needs to do the 4 jumps, and in between it has to do exactly the same stride every single time. Like for my older horses, I think I use it a lot for Katanga, and I use it a lot for Chilliwilly. I think Chilliwilly is a very big horse, so he has a massive stride. So sometimes when you come on the show and you have a triple combination or a double with 2 strides, he jumps in a little bit too far. So I put the poles on the same distance, so he learns to use his body a little bit more, so he can adapt a little bit in the doubles and the combinations, just to have the same stride that is not too difficult to come out. So I think this is very important, like this, that he always does the same stride and learn to go into doubles and triple combinations. It makes them a lot easier. I can also jump it very big. I think it's very important they get a lot looser. For a stiff horse, they really need to use their own body and their own canter to jump a little bit bigger like that. And I really like this exercise, and I do it with a lot of horses. Also for younger horses, it's good. You just need to change a little bit the height of the verticals.
Sounds very interesting. Would you agree that it's a good idea to start with Olivier's exercise and then build up into Nicola's exercise?
Yes, definitely. I think both exercises are very well. Maybe this one is a little bit more advanced for a little bit the older horses, but for young horses, once they know and they get going and they understand the line, it really helps them use their own body, and to get from a stiff horse, it can get a lot more supple, and they use a lot more their body over the fences like that.
Okay, very interesting to hear, and I think some of our viewers will be very happy to give those exercises a go. We saw on social media already some people posting their videos of the exercises of Eric and Michael van der Vleuten and Peter Fredriksson, and how they executed it. It's very good to see people getting involved. Nicola, Olivier, thank you very much for joining us here, for taking the time to join us on the Insider at Home. I hope you, your family, and everybody around you stay safe and stay sound. But more than that, I hope that we meet each other very quickly back on the shows. Thank you for taking the time. It was very, very interesting.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
And to you at home, thank you very much for watching. As always, very much appreciated, so we can stay in touch get through these Corona times and get onto the show as quick as possible. Thank you very much for watching, and also to you, stay safe, stay sound, and see you next time. Bye-bye.